Next up on Man vs Pixels, I've been playing Rage 2. Rage 2 is first person shooter. I think you'll probably all know that. Made by id, the company that started it all. Um, Way back in the day with Wolfenstein and Doom, and then Quake. So it's got pedigree in its development team. I don't know how much of the original id software team are still around with the company, like John Carmack and John Romero, but it's a solid shooter worthy of its pedigree. I'll tell you that now, right off the bat. When the shooting starts in this game, it is absolutely sublime. It's some of the best shooting you can do in a video game. The weapons are awesome. They are meaty, destructive. They feel great to fire. The shotgun is godlike. Like I think most id games, every id game has had awesome shotguns. That seems to be like what they do really well is shotguns, and this game's no exception. So the shooting and the weapons are A plus, no complaints whatsoever. They're exactly what you want from an id first-person shooter. The shame is this is an open-world first-person shooter, and unfortunately, it's the open-world aspect of it that is the letdown. That breaks up the awesome shooting, the fantastic combat, with trekking through a dull wasteland. I mean, it's well put together. It looks all right, I suppose, but it's basically all like it's sandy, brown, desert mostly. A tree, like swampy area thrown in, and a few cliffs and stuff. But it's basically a dull wasteland which you have to trek through, or drive through mostly, in between the shooty. There's lots of shooty opportunities spread around the map, but having to find them and travel to them is a bit of a chore. It's not very exciting and it's not much fun. There's endless sort of bandit dens, mutant nests all over the map, and you'll find them just driving about between like missions. You'll find them, or you'll get told about them by NPCs, and they'll appear on your map as question marks or as actual locations. And they all contain pretty much cookie cutter enemies, you know, the sort of standard array of bandit with armor, bigger sort of bossy bandit, not main boss, but sort of, you know, harder to kill bandit with a bigger weapon. But you forgive that, you forget it, because you don't care, because the shooting is so good. You want all these shooting opportunities. When you're driving like to a main mission, you've got your icon off in the distance, and it's the sat nav is showing you the way on the road, and you find a bandit den or anything, you know, anything else crops up on your compass to investigate. You're like, oh, brilliant, because you know there's going to be an opportunity for some really great combat. So you drive off to the side, do that, and carry on. You don't mind. And you don't, like I say, you don't mind the repetitive nature of the enemies, of like the bandit dens and the mutant nests. They're all pretty much the same. There's not much difference to any of them, but you don't mind any of that because it's giving you a chance to shoot your guns, and any chance you get to shoot your guns is brilliant in this game. Like I say, it's just a shame you have to drive from one place to another to do it. You always feel happy shooting your guns. That's the thing. Like whenever you get a chance for combat, you feel happy, and it's exciting and fast-paced and brutal, and you want to do it as much as possible. So you look for all these places, but it's just a shame you have to look for them. You have to drive around the map, and so you find them by accident, or let's say, but that's the downside, is driving about in between them. And driving about is not that great either. Like, the vehicles aren't much cop. The vehicle combat is not much cop either. Like, the weapons on your vehicle seem to do less damage than like your pistol. Like, enemies that you'd kill with like 3 pistol shots, you could be hammering with like the Gatling guns on your vehicle. they're just taking it. They're just tanking it. And you get out and put 3 pistol shots into them and they drop. So I don't know what that's about, but the vehicle combat is it's a non-event. Don't let they advertise this game on vehicle combat. Don't buy that. There's nothing to do with vehicle combat. It's nothing in this, and the vehicle driving as well. Like, there's races. You'll do one probably because it's a story mission that you have to do, and that's probably the only race you'll ever do. Certainly was the only race I ever did. The vehicles are strictly utilitarian for getting one place from one place to the other. They're not for anything else. So it's the shooting. The shooting is what holds this game up and what makes it worth playing. There's a decent upgrade system for all your weapons, and as well as an upgrade system for pretty much everything in the game. You can upgrade your weapons, your skills, your character, your vehicle. You collect all the bits for it as you go around. There's crates everywhere. Every bit of mission or bandit den or anywhere you'll go, there's crates all over the place to be broken for parts, ammo, the sort of main currency in the game called Feltrite, which is what you use to that heals you if you need health when you pick it up, and it goes into your currency inventory, and it's what you use to buy upgrades for your skills. So yeah, there's loads of good upgrades to invest in. That's quite a decent system, and they're all worth looking at, all worth investing something in. There's these things called arcs, which are scattered around the map. That's where you get like your main upgrades. If you think, oh, I'm missing a weapon here, or I'm missing an ability, well, it's the arcs where you get those, and you're introduced to the first couple as part of the story, and the rest are sort of there to be found. You can buy intel from different vendors, or just randomly sort of read a data pad that will give you the location of an arc, or you might just randomly come across it on your travels. But if you ever see a location of an arc on your map that you haven't been to, go there. They're important. They give you good upgrades, new abilities, new weapons, so they should be a priority for you to find when you're not doing like main story missions. The main story is okay. It's a sort of standard revenge tale. You start off in a settlement that gets wiped out by the baddies in this. Like, the main baddies are the Authority, as well as like the mutants and bandits that are sort of mini baddies scattered around. The main baddies are the Authority, and you start off having been wiped out. Your settlement's been wiped out, and you're off on a sort of mission to wipe them out in return, to get revenge and take them off the face of the planet. And to do this, you have to cooperate with like 3 other main players in the game. So there's sort of 3 main NPCs you get introduced to, and you have to go and do a few missions for them, and then collect enough sort of well, the story will tell you anyway. You do some missions for the 3 main NPCs, and then you're on your way to being able to defeat the Authority. So the story's okay. The main story NPCs are pretty good. They're quite unique. They've got decent voices, voice acting, okay dialogue. Not great, but doable, and they're all well sort of done. The exploration, like I say, it's okay at first. You'll look around some places at first, do a bit of random wandering, but you'll soon get bored of it. It soon gets old, and as well as that, the exploration, like trying to find bits and pieces within a certain location, like you'll be in a bandit den or a mutant nest or a mission location, and you'll be looking for, it'll tell you how many like chests there are to find, or anything like that, and you can spend a lot of time just looking for that last one if that's bugging you. And my advice is, after a while, just forget it and move on. Don't spend too much time looking for those extra things, because you know you might just forget it and move on. If it's an arc chest, then maybe spend a bit more time looking for that, because that'll give you a bit that piece of equipment you'll need for upgrades. But if it's just like normal storage chests that you're missing, don't bother looking for them too long. Those chests with the pink lids, just move on. In general, I think like once you've done a bit of exploration and like looked at a few random locations, I found myself just then cracking on with main story missions, and only taking detours to look at other sort of random locations as they cropped up on my compass as I was travelling to main story locations. I mean, there's not a lot of fast travel in this game. Like, you can only fast travel to like 3 major cities, major settlements, and even other places, like after you've discovered them, you can't fast travel to them. So it kind of does force you to drive about, and sometimes for quite some time, and sometimes if you're sticking to the roads on quite a windy route that's way longer than as the crow flies. But you can get this sort of hovercraft. It's not hover. It's more. It flies, but it won't fly at like a super high altitude. It maintains a set distance above the ground, and sometimes you run into trouble when you come in across higher cliffs and mountains. It won't get over them, so you have to kind of go round. But there is that vehicle that does cut down a bit of travel time, because you can go a more direct route. So yeah, my advice would be just focus on the main mission after a while, and just find what you find along the way, and don't waste too much time with extras and unnecessary extremities. So I think this would have been a better game if it had just had a more sort of traditional mission structure, like just maybe like a Call of Duty, or even just a linear, you know, story mission that takes you through the story in a set way, instead of you having to travel around and find all these places. I don't think the open world does this game any good, really. I think the shooting is brilliant, and if they just strung all the shooting opportunities together via a more structured mission, where you were just taken from one mission to the next via a cutscene or something, you'd have got a lot more out of it. It'd have been a lot more enjoyable without the open world. So I played it to completion of the main story, which took me 16 hours. There's still loads more to do if I wanted to. Loads of places in the map I haven't been, or like these locations I haven't gone to. And I think it's quite well supported as well. I think there's some extras out. I don't know if they're paid or not, but there's certainly some more content available, and I think they still are supporting it. So if you do get into it, there's loads of game there to play. Its full price is $39.99. I don't know if I didn't pay that for it. I don't know if I would if I was only going to play the 16 hours like main story. But I did pick it up on a sale, and if you see it on a sale for down like in the $24.99 range, then I'd say that's a good bargain, good time to pick it up. But if you think you might play like a lot of it, well then, okay, 40 quid might be valuable, might be of value to you. But I'd say, yeah, about 24 quid in a sale is a good price if you just intend on playing like the main mission and maybe a little bit of it extra. But the shooting is, let me just say it again, and I'll finish on this point. The shooting is sublime. One of the best shooters you can play on PC console at the moment. So that is Rage 2. Thanks for watching.